Welcome, listeners, to the first episode of the Black and Blue Soccer Show. I hope everyone listening had a wonderful New Year's as we approach the second half of the Premier League season. Joining me today is my co-host, Joey. Joey, how was your New Year's?
It was great. Got a new kitten, as you know. His name is Lulu, and he's just been terrorizing the place. Yeah. Otherwise, it's been great. Glad school is back. It gives me some a break from the kids a bit. I love you guys. You're great. Don't change. No, but it's been good. How about you?
So,
How's New Year's been for you?
I'll answer that question in a second, but I'm curious about the name Lulu. Is that short for Lukaku?
Oh, no, please, no. Don't, no. I don't even, no, no. But seriously, my daughter really wanted to name the cat Lulu. And at first, we were told the cat was going to be a girl, and Lulu fit perfectly. But we got him home, and he was obviously a boy. But it was too far in that time. She was like, "I want to keep the name Lulu." So everyone, meet Lulu.
Lukaku. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. So, my New Year's, pretty good, uneventful, thank God. Um, Moved the two Christmas decorations I had outside my house into the garage. No tree to get rid of, no lights to take down. So, all in all, pretty good.
Nice. We have a tree graveyard in our backyard. It's back in the woods, so after Christmas every year we just toss it into the into the woods.
Joey, that's why you get a ceramic Christmas tree that with those little lights, and you just put that on a table. That's what we do in our household. That's literally as much as I'm willing to even consider putting up.
Yeah, no, it's nice, a whole family thing to decorate the tree and stuff, for the kids. It drives me nuts because I'm sitting there having to like put the lights on the tree, and the kids are all jumping around and trying to pull off the lights, and it's great fun.
Well, yeah, that's why I hate it because growing up, I always had to decorate the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And then you have to put it down, put it up. We always did artificial trees in our house. Yeah, it was horrible. I will miss the eggnog. I will
Mm-hmm.
miss all the Starbucks flavors. We're coming into a season of sadness at Starbucks. So that's about the only thing I will miss.
Yep. All right, so everyone, we are obviously the Black and Blue Soccer Show. We are two Americans talking about the Premier League and some other interesting soccer stuff. One question I've received is, how did we get our name, the Black and Blue Soccer Show? It was brought up because both of us live in South Carolina, which is close to Charlotte FC, the professional MLS club near us. And
Professional used loosely. Okay, continue.
no, no, they're pretty good. They have some decent players. I mean, they just signed what was his name, Westwood from
Oh, Ashley Westwood from
yep,
Burnley. Yeah,
yeah.
he is a good player.
So yeah, getting some decent quality, and had Christian Fuchs last year, and wasn't the best, but hey, actually getting some good names in. But no, so it was brought up. They were asking if we were a Charlotte FC podcast. No, just pure coincidence that the colors are black and blue. I will go ahead and say that the blue for me is, I am a massive Chelsea fan. Started when Christian Pulisic joined. I was looking for a team to root for because I had just casually watched previously to that, and I really wanted a club to follow. And then once Christian signed, I was like, all right, I'm going all in. I assume it's the same for, kind of similar for you in the black, right?
No, my decision was a little bit more thought out than picking an American.
Well, no, I'm saying for the color, the, the color of the podcast.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, black. Yeah, black is for Newcastle United. Um, Compared to most Newcastle United fans, I'm a relatively short sufferer. I've only been around for the Benitez and the Bruce and now the Howe era. I do miss Mike Ashley. So, Mike Ashley, if you're listening, thank you for everything you did. You kept us running until we could get bought out by Saudis. So, without you, that would not have been possible. I mean
Um,
that sincerely.
the way you said it made it sound like Mike Ashley is no longer with us. So rip Ashley. No, what what is he up to now?
So, good question. So, his number two, Lee Charnley, is at Nottingham Forest, working all the transfers he never got to do at Newcastle United because, we never bought anyone or did anything. So he probably has carpal tunnel from signing off on all those summer transfers, and now they're getting started in the winter. He recently bought, I believe, Coventry City's grounds, and I think he was holding the team hostage. So he would own the ground, but he didn't own the team. And so, as many people know, Mike Ashley, he used Newcastle basically for sponsorship. Um, if you couldn't tell, that was a lot of sarcasm there for me in the beginning. So it's believed he's doing the same thing at Coventry City. I'm not sure if he actually got the takeover and now owns the club and um, the stadium. I haven't followed it too closely, but I wouldn't be surprised. I know that's probably his ultimate goal, so then he can have another vehicle for advertisement.
Sounds like a proper club owner.
Oh, man, after my heart.
All right, cool. So yeah, basically, the Black and Blue Soccer Show is Andrew and myself. We are Newcastle and Chelsea fans, hence the Black and Blue. And over here in America, obviously, it's called soccer. It's not football. And that's
By the
it.
way, soccer originated from the United Kingdom, so just putting that out there.
All right, cool. Yeah, that's it. I guess let's take a quick break, and then after that, we'll get into some match recaps from the week. We had matches in three different competitions: the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and the Premier League. First of all, Andrew, what is a Carabao? What is the Carabao Cup?
So the Carabao Cup is the EFL Cup. It is a cup that the participants are in. You have to be in the one through fourth division of English football to participate. Sponsored by some energy drink. God knows what it tastes like. Probably disgusting, like Red Bull. And Joey, can you guess how much the winners of the Carabao Cup make?
I couldn't even tell you how much the winners of the Champions League makes. I don't really pay attention to that stuff. I'm gonna say like 1 million.
Chelsea fan doesn't pay attention to money. I mean, that's obviously you picked the right team. You're right on spot on. Jeez. So the winner of the Carabao Cup will take home £100,000, whereas the winner of the FA Cup will take home £2 million.
Jeez, that's pretty crazy. Like, I, as big as soccer is over there, like that discrepancy is massive. That like really blows my mind.
So all I have to say is not many people must buy Carabao energy drink is, they must need a better sponsor. So, if they want to stick with energy drink, maybe look at Monster. I mean, even Dasani water could probably pay more than £100,000. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess English soccer is being taken over by Americans, so maybe we're going to see the Gatorade Cup or something.
Oh man, then it would be worth more than the FA Cup. They probably pay 5 million.
Yeah.
LeBron James, it'd be called like the LeBron James Cup or the Michael Jordan Cup. It would no longer, it wouldn't even be the EFL Cup. You get a giant Michael Jordan bust, gold, maybe even the Jumpman with a Nike swoosh on it, holding the Gatorade. I'm all for that plan. That sounds like. Let me write that down. I'm gonna have to email email the league this money making potential that they're missing out.
So remember where you got that from. 10% royalties back to me always.
I'll take 1% of like
All right.
two
So
million.
All right, so us talk about the actual matches. Tell us what happened in all the cup matches that went over this past week.
Sure. So for the Premier League and the FA Cup, started on Friday. We had Manchester United beating Everton 3-1. Liverpool and Wolverhampton are going to play another match due to a controversial VAR incident, ended 2-2 draw. Newcastle United lost to Sheffield Wednesday 2-1. We had West Ham United beating Brentford 1-0. We had Brighton Hove and Albion beating Middlesbrough 5-1. Fulham dispatched Hull City 2-0. Then we had Burnley upset Bournemouth 4-2. And one of the other upsets of a Premier League team, Blackpool beat Nottingham Forest 4-1. Tottenham barely escaped due to a Harry Kane goal, 1-0 over Portsmouth. Southampton knocked out in one of a Premier League foes in Crystal Palace, 2-1. Joey's team got finger blasted, 4-0. Uh, Luckily for Newcastle, Aston Villa also is out of the FA Cup, losing 2-1 to Stevenage. And then in the next to last penultimate of the Premier League teams, there's going to be a replay as Leeds United tied it up near the end at Cardiff City, 2-2. And in the final game, Arsenal dispatched Oxford United 3-0 and also received an FA notice due to their crazy actions, mobbing the official again, which is their second FA notice in a week.
Before you talk about the Carabao Cup, there is one other interesting, notable result from the FA Cup. That would be Wrexham.
Ah, yes, Wrexham, fifth division Wrexham. So, as I said, the FA Cup is all comers. If you're a member of the FA League, you could be it. Wrexham is a National League team. They are currently not in um, the top four divisions, working on it. If anyone is watching, welcome to Wrexham on Hulu. It's a great, great show. So, in probably the biggest upset in the FA Cup happened with Wrexham AFC beating Coventry City 4-3, and they will be moving on to the fourth round. So all we got to say in America is good luck, Rob and Ryan. We are all with you. Please stop doing TikToks.
Yeah. But all I'll say is that first of all, the show is great, but I love what Rob and Ryan are trying to do with the community. Um, you can tell that the club means so much to that town. That the people there, they obviously live and breathe Wrexham, and just to see the sheer joy and happiness from them, that it's really good. And it looks like Rob and Ryan are really making an impact there, and I commend them a lot for what they're doing.
Okay, so for the quarterfinal Carabao Cup results, the first game, Manchester United beat Charlton 3-0. In the second game, Newcastle United beat Leicester City 2-0. And in the final day on Wednesday were the two best games of the quarterfinals. Nottingham Forest goes through on penalties 4-3. And in the biggest upset so far, Southampton beat Manchester City 2-0.
Now that City result, that makes me mad, because why why couldn't they play that way against Chelsea? Why did they actually have to be good against us? Ugh.
You mean why is Southampton better than Chelsea? Is that what you're getting at?
I mean, right now, who isn't better than Chelsea? Like,
Well, when the 20th place team is putting up a nothing burger on Man City and you guys can't even crack them, that's that's piss poor.
Yeah,
And
it's brutal.
there'll be more conversation about that later.
Yeah. And then obviously, I'm sure you were excited to see Newcastle, their result. Anything you want to say about that match?
Yeah, congratulations, Dan Burn, first Newcastle goal. It was a great goal. Never expected it from him. He Joelinton laid it off. He cut it on the inside and slotted it in with his right foot. He actually broke. He broke the 0-0. It actually turned out to be the winning goal. But more famously was the Fortnite dance, which is circulating social media that he did afterward in the locker room.
I didn't get to
Have
see
you?
that. What was that? Cool. Did you like it?
It is not cool, and yeah, um, he'll look back then in 10 years' time and be like, "What the hell was I doing?" But he did score his first goal ever for the club. He is a boyhood Newcastle supporter who got cut from Newcastle Academy at age 11. He wasn't good enough. The only thing that could have made this goal better would have been if his dad was able to be there and see it. But apparently, he was on a work trip in Spain and did not actually see his son score his first Newcastle goal.
Oh, brutal. Um,
Yeah.
uh, I'll say the one thing I've seen from that result is I've seen a lot of Newcastle fans now pretty excited for their next round against Southampton. I I don't know. I don't think I don't think anybody should be that confident going into a match, especially against a club who just beat City.
Yeah, and also typically we do not do well against Southern England teams. And the first match is the away of the home and away. We go to Southampton first. If we keep that at a draw, then I'm confident. Even if we keep it within one, I'm pretty confident. But I wouldn't like some of my guys in the Twitter group I'm in are booking tickets to Wembley right now. I wouldn't be doing that. However, we have not even been close to a cup in so many years. We haven't won one in, over 40 years. So obviously, everyone's really excited. But Joey, you probably know I'm very superstitious. And so I don't like to predict Newcastle scores. I don't like to even wear Newcastle shirts on the day that they're playing. So for me, yeah, I wouldn't count chickens before they hatch. I think we have better than 50% chance odds of going through, especially if we strengthen. I mean, the window is open. We can still buy players. They can be ready for that game. So I do like our chances, but again, like you said, you never know. I mean, Man City probably didn't think Southampton would score two on them. They certainly didn't think they'd be thrown a goose egg. Now, is that Jack Grealish's fault? Probably, but you know, we'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic. The most I've ever been in my time of following Newcastle.
And that's really saying something because this man always predicts Newcastle to lose. Always. And I mean always.
Yes, it doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, it literally doesn't matter. We're playing Fulham at home this week, and we're probably gonna get pumped 5-0.
Yeah, see, always. Now, moving back to the actual Premier League, there were two matches. One was a makeup. It was, I guess, the week 7 match, I believe. It was Fulham versus Chelsea, and Chelsea lost 2-1. I have a lot to say about this match, and we will talk about that more in our discussion segment of Chelsea's downfall. But then the other was today. It was starting the new match week. Was Aston Villa 2, Leeds United 1. right here we have the Fighting Jesse Marshes, kind of continuing along, mediocrity that they've been doing all season. Honestly, I think they should be a little bit better, but more of the same. What do you think?
Yeah, Brandon Anderson was terrible. Tyler Adams, great as usual. He is the heart and soul of that team. As I've told you, and I've told my Newcastle friends, I Adams is going to end up being the face of U.S. men's national soccer team sooner than later. For his consistency, his marketing potential, his interviewing adeptness. But I do think Jesse Marsh is in trouble. They're still flirting with the relegation. He is going to be, from what I hear, backed. I think they have a bid in for a 40 million euro guy from Germany, I believe. So he's going to at least get one or two players. I think they already brought in a defender from Austria, from Red Bull Salzburg, I believe. Could be wrong. I mean, even as an American, I don't follow Jesse Marsh that much. But I do think he's in trouble if his results don't pick up. He plays, Joey, as you know, he plays the Red Bull style, somewhat unique. Um, so will it work in the Premier League? We will see. Something to note is I recently saw on Reddit, Joey, I don't know if you get on Reddit much, but I believe Leeds were the most searched team in 3 states.
Mhm. Yeah, so when Leeds, brought Jesse Marsh in, and then of course Aronson and Adams, um, there was the all the U.S. Men's national team fans immediately flocked to Leeds as their club. So that does not surprise me at all. But you and I mentioned this earlier. Is from that little graphic of the most searched clubs. Remember who Alabama had?
Oh my God. And I actually posted this on Twitter. So Alabama had Hull City, and I gotta think that maybe they were searching for Hoop City and just too drunk or stupid, because there's no way Hull City could beat out any other English club. Like what are they doing? They beat out Barcelona, Real Madrid, Hull City. I mean, that just goes to show you how popular soccer is in Alabama.
Well, well, yeah, but I was thinking maybe like a family from Hull just happened to settle in Alabama, and they were
Wrote a program.
single-handedly propping them up.
Did you ever search? Is there an American playing for Hull City, and are they from Alabama? Like,
I seriously doubt it, but no, I haven't looked into it.
I
Um,
haven't looked into it either.
but real
But
quick, back on Leeds, and so Tyler Adams, obviously top class guy. He was the standout player from the United States at the World Cup, and today before the match, he was actually informed that he was elected the not elected, but he had won the United States Men's National Team Player of the Year with over 70% of the vote. Well deserved. I believe he's going to be the captain for the men's national team going forward, and completely top class individual. Props to him for everything he's done.
yeah, easily next decade. So Newcastle fans, if you're listening and you want, I heard people want Pulisic for marketing purposes. No, you want Tyler Adams for marketing purposes. He might not be the most popular today, but I can guarantee you, in 2 years' time, he will be the face of the men's soccer in the United States. Would you agree, Joey?
Um, I don't. I want to say yes, but over here they put such an emphasis on goal scoring, so I have to think that people are going to want a forward as the centerpiece. But I personally would say that Adams is the foundation of the team. And I mean, I wouldn't mind having him at Chelsea. We need midfielders desperately, and he would do wonders for us. I just don't think he has the clout yet to be considered by Chelsea.
Oh yeah, I'd totally take him at Newcastle in a heartbeat. Um, we also need an upgrade in town in midfield. So, and when we played Leeds, he was far and away their best player. The only reason we got a draw, other than none of our guys can finish, um, is Tyler Adams. So, yeah, I can't say enough good things about him. Joey knows I don't follow much U.S. men's national team, but he is a class individual. His star is rising more than anyone else's. As fast as Reina's star is falling, his is rising. So he's a name to he's a name to keep your eye on if you're listening from outside of the United States.
And to that note, the whole U.S. Soccer Federation is a complete joke. It's nepotism on top of corruption, on top of just incompetence. The whole front office and management just needs to go. They kind of need to do what Chelsea did when Bowley came in, is just wipe everyone out.
Yeah, we'll save U.S. men's national team for a
Yeah.
discussion down the line. But yeah, there's definitely juicy gossip and interesting things happening over here in the States with soccer, which holds us back.
All right, so that's it for this week's matches. Let's move into the our next discussion. All right, so today we're going to discuss two topics. The first topic is Chelsea's downfall, and then after that, we're going to discuss um, an unfortunate circumstance with Joelinton. Andrew, I know you have some strong feelings on that one. Um, we'll get to that in just a moment. But first, as a Chelsea fan, I am in shambles right now. The club is um, absolutely just in a horrible state. Um, Everything is going wrong. You know, losing 4-0 to City, and then having some glimmer of hope with Yao Felix coming in, and then and then that match against Fulham, uh, I, leaves me dumbfounded. I really don't know what to think. Now I obviously have a lot to say on this. So, any thoughts you may have right now, Andrew?
Yes. So my initial thought as an outsider who obviously is enjoying watching the struggles of your club, even though you probably don't reciprocate toward my club. So I feel a little bad on that front. I personally believe, while maybe not merited, I think Potter has to win this next game against Crystal Palace. At least get a result. I don't think he can lose it. If he loses it, I if he loses it, I suspect he will get sacked. He may not deserve it, but at some point, you have to put points on the board. And if Crystal Palace beats you guys, they've come all the way back, and you guys are level on points, which is should be unacceptable at any level for your club. So that's my initial thoughts. You've been unlucky in injuries, though every club has injuries, though the amount of years your club has would lead me to like look into your sports medicine department. I'm not quite sure, although I did mention when they brought Reece James back, I think I said watch him get injured because I thought they bring him back too early, and yeah, of course he got injured. Um, though we did the same damn thing for John Joe Shelby. Those are the type of injuries you really nurse back. But so you've been unlucky there, but it's still no excuse because the talent that your team has should be better than what it's showing at the moment. I thought Kepa, I hate to say it, but I think he's regressing again. You can probably talk more about that. Mm, so yeah, I think it's kind of somewhat crisis mode because I I think you guys do need European football. I think your budget is built on European football, and obviously you wouldn't spend 16 million pounds on a loan with no option to buy, uh, if you weren't in trouble. Let's put it that way. So I'll let you take back over. It's your club. You know way more about it, but that's my thoughts.
Yeah, so the, right off the bat, the injury thing is very unfortunate. There are 10 players injured right now, and these aren't, just no-name people. These are, potentially first team players. So we can almost have a Premier League contending team in just our injuries. For forwards, we have Christian Pulisic, Armando Bruya, Raheem Sterling. Midfield, Dennis Zakaria, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and Golo Kante. Um, Defenders, Reece James, Ben Chilwell, Wesley Fofana, and then, of course, Mendy in goal. That is a solid foundation for a team all injured. And it is unbelievable. Mixture of just bad luck with every time Pulisic plays, teams just batter him. Um, we talking about the name of the podcast, the Black and Blue Soccer Show. Well, Pulisic gets battered black and blue every time he's out there. I have a feeling it's more strategic because he goes down easy, and it really does look like he can't handle pain that well. So I think clubs go out to mess with him to try to get under his skin. Uh,
Yeah, because all players get hit, fouled all the time. But for some reason, I mean, I'm not making excuses. Pulisic, when he gets touched, he gets injured.
mm-hmm. Oh, and then you mentioned with Reece James. I was even saying like, the dude is obviously I'd consider the best right back in the world. Outside of Pulisic, he's by far my favorite player.
He's your
But
best player.
yeah, yeah, definitely. But he needs time to fully heal. When immediately when that injury happened, I texted you and said, sit him down for the rest of the season. Let him get his surgery, whatever the heck rehab he needs. We cannot risk him every single time. Like when he comes back, his this brings up another point with the injuries and specifically Reece James. When Bowley came in, he did a massive clear out of the Chelsea management staff and then also the medical team. He believed that the medical situation up until then was not being handled correctly, that there were too many injuries. Well, guess what? Since he brought in his private firm of celebrity doctors, it's gotten even worse. Recently, the players have come out and said that they don't feel like they have a rapport with this new team. They don't feel that the new medical staff has their interests at heart, that they had a rapport with the old people and they at least understood their reasoning. So I don't know if, like, obviously I'm not a doctor. I don't know the specifics of any of these cases, but what is going on there? It's clearly not normal and very unfortunate.
So Joey, is this like I don't know if you ever watched Royal Pains, aired in America. It was like a concierge doctor to Hampton, like wealthy Hamptons residents. Did he bring in like some concierge type medical team or like what happened here?
Yeah, so he contracted out with this firm that handles celebrities. So it's supposed to be top class, but it's a different level when just let's say Ryan Reynolds needs a doctor as opposed to a freaking elite level athlete. Like it's not the same. Like I don't know what.
That's crazy to me. I mean, if I was a fan, I'd be like outraged just hearing that. That's just bananas.
Yeah, so recently in a team meeting, that all came out, and they've now announced that they're going to do an internal review on the medical staff situation, and hopefully they will do something about it, whether it's like bring in additional staff or maybe even bring in their own people again, because it's clearly not working. But so even after having all those injuries, you have stuff like we finally get a glimmer of hope. Bring in Yao Felix, and he immediately makes a difference. Just 24 hours in London, he comes in against Fulham and is looking great. He looks creative. He's popping off shots left and right. Our attack actually looks functional, which when's the last time we've been able to say that? And then have some defensive woes. Things don't go well. Koulibaly, I don't. That's a whole subject in itself. Trevoh Chalobah at the back making all kinds of mistakes, which interesting for that. Trevoh Chalobah at one time had Chelsea went a on a 28 game streak without losing when Trevoh Chalobah started. That dude had a massive downfall in his performance, and it started under Tuchel. And one thing that everyone says about Tuchel is that the dude just did not improve any player whatsoever. Nobody. The only person that you could even argue would be Rudiger, but that was more of a scenario where Rudiger and Lampard didn't see eye to eye. So Rudiger just never played, and when he did, it was half-hearted. So when Tuchel came in, he gave Rudiger a legit chance, and turned out he was potentially world class. All right, so in this match, like I said, we had a glimmer of hope, some defensive woes, and then in the second half, you get nice new 11 million pound loan option, gets red carded.
16. Let's add all the fees in there.
Yeah, whatever. No, but seriously, like freaking red card. Like the dude is here for what, 5 months or something, and pay all that money for him to just immediately get red carded and out for the next 3 matches. Like we won't see him again until what was it, February 11th or something like that. It's unbelievable. Like anything that looks to be going well at the time for Chelsea just immediately gets like stomped on.
Yeah, I have a question for you on this. I'm curious to your opinion. Only because Eddie Howe does something different when we get new players in. Do you think Felix should have started, or should he have kind of had more time to adapt to the Premier League? Should he have come off the bench? He's never played in the Premier League. It's faster, more physical. Do you think that was a mistake, desperation, or there just wasn't anyone else to play that position?
I mean, there's clearly people that can play. We have, a very talented academy and a very good prospect going forward in Amari Hutchinson, but definitely needed to play him. I mentioned he was only in London for 24 hours, but he truly did give a glimmer of hope. And we've mentioned it. Chelsea's in full-on crisis mode. It is bad. I think it's one win in the last 9 league matches. It is really bad. And immediately within 2 minutes, Felix gets the ball in their box, pulls a nifty move, creates a goal scoring chance. Immediately has a great impact. You can see him and Havertz actually building a rapport together and linking up. Things started operating when he was on the pitch. There's one thing with the Chelsea midfield is that they cannot create. There's been a long debate over Mason Mount, whether or not he's a creative player and whether or not he should actually be out there. I've been a staunch Mason Mount supporter and defender, but here recently, I'm starting to question my sanity with him and Chelsea as a whole. Mount missed so many opportunities to play the ball forward or hit a guy open in space, and either just went completely sideways or passed it back. He would do these nifty little half turns sometimes, and then other times he would get the ball, and you watched a couple Charlotte FC matches last year. It was like when Ben Bender would get the ball, it would be like his feet were bricks. Same thing, like every once in a while now Mount will do that. And everyone was just saying like it's just a poor run of form, but it's getting to a point where it's a consistency of this inequality and just bad play from him. And you have this midfield that can't do anything to get the ball forward to people in space. Yes, they can dribble it up, pass it side to side, and then back a little bit. But you have nobody that can actually make progressive runs into space and then hit someone running ahead of them. Nobody. It's like freaking Kovacic played amazing for Croatia, then gets back to London, and it's like he can't pass again. He forgot how to pass. It doesn't make a lick of sense. But anyway, where I was going with that is there's no creativity. Yao Felix comes in and immediately is a creator for himself because he can't rely on anyone. I am glad that he ended up at Atletico because it made him develop the his attacking prowess because of just how they play. You know, they put 10 men behind the ball and then he has to do everything for himself. But because of that, he is going to do wonders for the team going forward if he comes back, you know. The whole thing is just like just an insanity. Like I mentioned, you have everything looking well, and then he gets the red carded, and the match is over. At that time, it was still 1-1, but it was like freaking like lead balloon just like going up in flames.
But you knew Kepa was going to make a mistake.
Yeah, you mentioned that too. Kappa's it looked like he was making a turnaround and going to start living up to his potential, and then here the past few matches he's just going right back down. So that Vinicius goal, I forget who crossed it in, but someone crossed it in, and Kepa gets way out of position and then just leaves the goal wide open for Vinicius, and it's just unbelievable that kind of crap that happens. Earlier in the match, we had our left wing back Lewis Hall, 18-year-old. Can't blame him at all. He's a freaking kid, just come up from the academy, is doing everything he can, and he goes to try to get the ball upfield, trying to beat the press, and he tries to mega guy. Well, the guy is gets the ball, and then they end up scoring. That was when actually I can't remember if they scored. I think so. They hit it across to Willian, and of course Willian would be the one to score. Former Chelsea player, can always count on it. But like you have these young kids that want to make a name for themselves, that are trying their heart out, and it's really getting to them. You can see it with Conor Gallagher. You put him out there, all he does is run around and slap people and kick people, but at least they're fighting. They might not be that good, but at least they're freaking trying. It just sucks, man. I honestly don't even know how to go forward with the season. I'm close to the point of saying like pull all these big name older guys out and just play all the kids. Freaking pull up the whole academy team. Put players out there that want to play, that want to make a name of themselves, that will actually play for the badge. Because Koulibaly, he doesn't care. Like what the heck, dude? Like I
What's
was
he on? 300,000 a week?
seriously, yeah. Like I was legit mad that he was the one that got the goal. Like I was like, of all people, the dude plays like complete garbage, and then
His own
he's the
team.
one. Yeah, and then he's the one that gets the goal. Like what the heck? But like,
So Joey,
yeah,
serious question.
yeah.
What happens if Potter loses at Crystal Palace?
You'll get a lot of unhappy fans. It's come out several times now that Bowley 100% supports Potter. I do think there's a limit. There obviously has to be a limit. I would assume it's let's
But
say we fall around to like 14th place or so.
Joey, whenever an American comes out with a vote of confidence, what that means.
Yeah, no, so it
I'm done.
wouldn't make any sense whatsoever to fire Potter. We just brought him in for, I think we had to pay, I can't even remember now. I want to say that 20 million is
Yeah,
sticking
he's the
out in my mind.
most expensive manager of all time. Yeah. Yep.
So we brought him in with his whole staff. To get rid of him this early would just be, we're already going to be in financial ruin because of missing out on European soccer. And if we had to pay the release clause for him and his staff already, I don't know what. I mean, Bowley has some deep pockets, but I don't think they could go that deep. So no, there's no way unless things get absolutely complete dumpster fire. There'd be no way they could get rid of him.
The ride or die with Potter.
Yeah, and realistically, like, who the heck are you going to bring in that could, improve this mess? I guarantee you, not one single person could improve enough to get us in a European spot under the injury and lack of willingness from the players. Nobody.
Yep. And just for the listeners, so in America, anytime the owner comes out with a vote of confidence in the NFL or baseball, the manager is usually fired within the next few days. So it's usually called the dreaded vote of confidence. So it's not in America, it's not something you really want to see.
Yep. Another thing that came out today is that Bowley, I think this is more of a trying to uh, get the players to actually put in some effort. But Bowley mentioned that they are looking into doing a summer clear out of all the players that aren't putting up results. So you'd have like maybe Pulisic, Koulibaly, possibly even Mount, Azpilicueta, Ziyech, Havertz, all those kinds of guys who are either just like not up to it anymore or don't want to be there. Which honestly I'm okay with. Give us, free up some spot and some spaces and some money to bring in people that will actually fight for their place.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of making too many changes all at once because usually that is not a good strategy, not enforced with notwithstanding. Also, you guys are gonna get pennies on the dollar for some of these guys, so it's gonna
Yeah,
be it's gonna be a tough, very tough swallow for some of these.
yeah,
Should you really clear out
yeah.
like all the people?
Well, so most people know that Bowley is one of the co-owners of the Los Angeles Dodgers. I believe, at least I believe he's a co-owner. I don't think he has full 100% control, but when he got in to the Dodgers, he said, "We're going to build a dynasty. We're going to get things right." And immediately, he just started cutting contracts of players that just didn't fit anymore. He said, "We're going to eat the losses now because we're going to build a dynasty and take over the league. That's going to be it." And I want that to happen too. Like Jorginho has to go. He's been a great role player. He's fit his little niche well. It's time for him to go. Koulibaly, go. We still got to freaking deal with Lukaku. Like, what the heck? Get him out of here, please. Um, yeah,
Also, for those not in America, the strategy sort of worked with the Dodgers. They did go on to win the World Series in 2020, but they also ended up giving out monster contracts. And now some of those chickens are coming home to roost.
yeah,
So he can't, hopefully, he doesn't think he can do the same thing.
yeah.
I mean,
So
surely he's not dumb enough to do that.
on that note specifically, it was also reported today that Chelsea do want to implement a wage structure, whereas the base wage relatively, normal,
Reasonable.
right? But they have apparently like a myriad of options for incentives. So, like for high dollar players, they could incentivize them enough through merit or whatever the heck to actually entice them to come because I don't based on like I would assume Champions League performance and all that good stuff. But everything sounds like everything that Chelsea fans have wanted. an actual long-term vision to produce lasting success. Where I believe some stuff has gone wrong is that immediately they started planning for long term, where they started buying up these young teenagers from around the world who are supposedly top talent, and spent like $100 million on just teenagers that can't do anything yet because they're still kids. They definitely put too much of an emphasis on that and not on like what do we need right now. Talking about Reece James, it's been since 2019 he's been our best right back, and we still don't have a replacement for him with the injury issues that he has. Same thing with our midfield. The last true midfield signing was when we signed Kovacic off of a loan. We need some actual help now to get us to you know, the fruits of the labor of them putting investment into the academy kids. And it looks like they really do, you know, want to do the right thing. I think their timing with it was just a little off.
Help now's expensive though,
Very
and you
expensive.
kind of went that route in the summer, and unfortunately,
Yeah.
it didn't pan out.
So the two big ones from the summer that are obviously just bad signings are Aubameyang and Koulibaly. Funny enough, they were Tuchel signings. Aubameyang specifically came here for Tuchel. You know, if anyone doesn't remember, right before he came, his house got broken into, and he got beat pretty good from it. So he gets here, he still like bruised and has to wear a protective mask. And then, what, a few days later, Tuchel sacked. And then we missed out on Jules Koundé because Tuchel actually didn't want him, and Tuchel suggested Koulibaly instead, and we obviously see how that's turned out. So basically, what I'm getting to is Bowley clearly has, you know, a plan. It was just not implemented well, but I think with the additional management staff, like the sporting director and all that stuff, that is now going to be in place. I think everybody will be in place next month sometime, but I'm hopeful for the future. Just kind of freaking get past this season. Come on. Get it
Luckily,
done.
luckily, luckily, your guy's debt was wiped out, so you have this opportunity to make a mistake. Most teams would not be this fortunate to make such ginormous blunders and recover from it. But I feel you guys are in the position. I mean, you can't do it again, obviously,
Hmm.
but and missing out on European football will definitely set you back a little bit. I do think you can recover from the extremely poor decision making from the start. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this winter for you guys, but especially in the summer.
Yep. Agreed. All right. That's all I have for Chelsea for now. I really could say so much more, but I it's so depressing, man. Like it is hard being a Chelsea fan right now.
As
Um
hard as it's being a Chelsea fan, it's so easy to be a Newcastle fan.
yeah, unless you're a fan of Joelinton, I'd imagine. Tell us what the heck is going on there.
Oh my God. So Joelinton was caught. They call it drink driving in the UK. In the US, we'd call it driving under the influence, DUI. So he was caught with a DUI at about 1:40 in the morning. I think he's fairly close to his house. And completely shocking for this player for kind of a multitude of reasons. He's somewhat quiet and reserved. He's very hardworking. You know, he's a player that I think all the fans love. I mean, I'm going to be honest, he's my favorite player on Newcastle. I think he makes our team go. A lot of people will probably argue and say Bruno is our best player and makes our team go, but I think Joelinton, what he does in midfield really changes the dynamic, and we kind of lucked into that. That being said, you know, to me, drunk driving is kind of a zero tolerance thing. So for those again outside of the United States, the NFL, which is the National Football League, which is football that you throw and run and not actually kick unless you're trying to kick a field goal. They had an image problem. Joey, what would you say about 5 to 10 years ago?
I mean, they've always had an image problem. It's just that people really started to care.
Yeah, okay, yeah, exactly. But 5 or 10 years ago, the proverbial poop hit the fan. So much so that radio stations and everyone was even Pro Football Daily. They were keeping counters days since last NFL arrest, and the majority of these arrests were DUIs. Sadly, the other majority were domestic violence incidences, which has is treated a lot differently. However, due to the public backlash here in the United States and the negative press that the NFL was garnering, there is in the collective bargaining agreement now, um, if a football player, NFL football player, is arrested with a DUI, there's no waiting to see if he's guilty or innocent. It's an automatic 3 game suspension unless the league determines there's extenuating circumstances. Now, what those could be, I don't know. I haven't looked up to see if anyone's successfully appealed the extenuating circumstances or not. All I know is it has drastically cut down the number of DUIs in the National Football League. They also set up, and some clubs may have already had this, they also set up a ride sharing. And any player, that comes into the NFL, they take a class on basically conduct and what constitutes good conduct, and everyone agrees to this conduct. So it's known up front when you break the code of conduct for the NFL, whether or not you're civilly liable or criminally liable, the NFL can impose punishments, which is usually in the most likely the form of missed games, because that's how they get paid. So, taking this back to Joelinton, there's kind of a division in the fan base on what Howe should do this week versus Fulham. And if it was me, number one, obviously the person comes first, because someone that's out drinking and driving at 1:40 in the morning, and this guy, he has a kid and another kid on the way. First of all, is everything okay with him personally? That's something I would, at this point, soccer becomes, who cares, right? Like, soccer will be there. Let's see what's happening with this person. Luckily, we have Eddie Howe as our coach, so I think that's the first thing they're going to do. Is they're going to check on him as a person, make sure everything's okay. Howe was uncommittal in his press conference today whether he would start Joelinton or even have him on the bench. Me, I would follow the NFL's lead on this. And for me, this would just be like a 2 game suspension. No questions asked. A lot of people online in the UK says, well, it depends how much he's over. Why? Like, because you could hurt someone. I mean, you don't need to be over that much to change someone's life. I mean, buzz driving is drunk driving. So I would take a hardline stance while also, you know, helping him out as a person. Um, I don't think this will ruin his career or anything. There's been other players, Lloris, Wayne Rooney. I mean, the thing is, the Newcastle fans point to as all these players didn't miss any games. Well, that may be, but times are changing. And I know in the UK, the drinking culture is, somewhat different than here in the United States. I do believe they do lead in binge drinking. Um, so I know it's probably more widely accepted, but for me, you're a professional athlete. You have the means to get out of the situation you put yourself in. And Eddie Howe has all his players' phone numbers. So I can only assume the players have Eddie Howe's phone number. Joelinton could have easily called Eddie Howe to come get him. So this is a situation that didn't need to occur, but unfortunately did occur. So for me, I would just sit him 2 games, make sure he's okay as a human being first, explain why you're sitting him down. Let him know, you're still in our plans. We just want to make sure you're okay. We're gonna, work on you, and this is kind of just how it's going to be. And hopefully moving forward, we don't see any more of this from our players. Ideally, we don't see any more of this from any players in any league because no one wants to be like the Dallas Cowboys player who was drinking and driving. He got in a wreck and he killed his teammate. I do not remember the name offhand. This is probably 2 or 3 years ago. I don't
Yeah.
know if you remember that incident, Joey.
No, I can't
Uh,
remember that. Um,
um,
well, real quick, the one thing that I find truly shocking was on Twitter, I saw a lot of I wouldn't even say Newcastle fans, just soccer fans in general saying like, what's the big deal? Everyone makes mistakes. Like, yes, everybody makes a mistake, but there are consequences to said mistakes. And this is a mistake that should have major consequences given the life and death, implications of said mistake. It's truly unconscionable to me to think that, someone can do something with that can easily get people killed and then just have no repercussion from it. It blows my mind. I one of my best friends from a kid died in a DUI situation, and it hurts, man. Like losing people because of that sucks. Uh,
yeah, completely preventable.
hmm so to play down that scenario in any way whatsoever, completely uncalled for, and there's no place for it in society.
Yeah, I'm totally ashamed of the Newcastle fans that want Joelinton to play on Saturday. I know everyone wants 3 points. We should be able to perform against Fulham without him. If we lose, we lose. I mean, it is what it is. Pretend he got injured. Pretend he has a grade 1 hamstring injury. He's out 2 weeks. Um, you know, there's more to life than winning and losing a soccer match. Um, Joelinton's life is important, so he needs to be taken care of. But then again, like Joey said, there are consequences to your actions, and here in the United States, there are some employers where if you did something like this, you'd be immediately terminated. So, I know professional sports is different. There are some actual clubs in America, some NFL clubs. If you're, I hate to say this, and this is going to come out bad, but it's just how it is in the United States. If you are a fringe player and you did something like this, your contract would be terminated, um, because you're not worth the bad publicity. Now, is that fair or right? I mean, that's a whole different argument. Um, People do make mistakes, but Joey said it perfectly. There are consequences to those mistakes. And fortunately, this time, no one seemingly was injured that we're aware of. But what about next time? So,
Yep. And you got to think about it from the business perspective as well. That could have major implications for advertisers and just overall fan, I guess, happiness or whatever, the, optics on the Newcastle brand. over here in
Oh,
America,
exactly.
yeah. So over here in America, it that plays a major role in everything. In the UK, it may very well be different. I don't know, but the owners run these clubs to make money. That is their goal. Obviously, the easiest way to do that is by winning, but anything that will potentially cause them not to make money or not to make as much money as they could, they generally do whatever they can to avoid that. And in scenarios like this, setting a hard line of like, this is unacceptable would generally be, well received by the public. And specifically from an optics standpoint, I believe that more people would put faith into the club, into seeing that they're doing the right thing, and would be willing to support them long term.
Exact. I mean, again, nail on head. We are trying to grow our brand in Saudi Arabia. This would not be tolerated in Saudi Arabia at all. Most definitely not. And, also, again, the UK may be different. Another reason I think the NFL was kind of put into action as well is because the more this behavior went on, the more it was seen as being tolerated and condoned, which would then put the teams at risk. So, you know, they can eventually be liable for knowing that their player has an issue. They're doing nothing about it, and then their player goes out and kills someone, but they've covered up all these incidences. Um, so again, I think we're on the same page, Joey. I think, they need to take a hard line. Um, we won't lose. Um, it's not the end of the world if Joelinton misses 2 games or 3 games. I mean, it's just not. And at the end of the day, he's a person. He may need help. We don't know. And there'll be consequences, hopefully.
Oh,
So, for Joelinton and all the people that are thinking about getting in a car, drinking, and driving, and for all you alcoholics out there, I hope you all get help. And on a more serious note, for anyone that might be suffering uh, with alcohol or any substance abuse problems, please reach out for help. There's definitely help out there for you. There are people who care about you, and please do not put anyone else's life in danger, especially your own. And on that note, I have a cousin who is a teetotaler, and he has made a short PSA of sorts of a drink that is better than alcohol, he claims. Now, I'll be honest, I've had this many times. In my opinion, it is better than alcohol because one of the ingredients is Dr. Pepper, which is 10 times better than any alcohol. But I'll let him go through the recipe right now.
Hey, Bo's JD here, and I've learned September is National Sobriety Awareness Month. So for all you struggling with the devil's drink, Jimmy got one for you today. What you need is a Dr. Pepper. If you got diabetes or you watching your weight, you get the diet kind, trust me. Then you will need some peanuts. You need to get the salted peanuts. What you do then is you open up your Dr. Pepper like so. You open up your peanuts like this. You pour them little peanuts in. Use your hand if you need to. It's gonna bubble a little bit. Oh, you're making a mess here. Then you wait 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, you will be drinking the nectar of the gods. So says JD and everyone else. You will have forgotten about the devil drink. That's all Jimmy had for you today. God bless Jimmy.
Now wait a
Thank
second.
you.
Who was that again? Jimmy? Cousin Jimmy?
Yeah, Jimmy Dix.
Now we've known each other a long time now. I've never heard of Cousin Jimmy.
Oh yeah, I mean he's from the branch of the tree that's really southern.
Okay, okay. Right.
You would think loving NASCAR and wrestling, he would be a heavy drinker, but he does not drink anything. And maybe the listeners will get Jimmy live one day.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, if you have any questions for Jimmy, now I can go down to his trailer park and drop off some questions if anyone's interested in any more about Jimmy and his background. He ain't shy. That's all I have to say.
Nice. Well, thank you, Jimmy, for that wonderful PSA. But that brings up a good point for questions. Any listener out there who has a question that they'd like to ask us about soccer, Premier League, anything really, please reach out at Gmail, blackandbluesoccer at gmail.com. Of course, you can always reach out on Twitter or Instagram as well. Now, to go into our next segment, which would be player transfers and rumors. This will be pretty quick. Andrew, who we gotta talk about today?
So real quick, we probably don't need to talk about João Felix. Final tab on that was 16 million straight loan. No chance of a buy. He did extend his contract for another year with Atletico. But we beat that horse to death.
Well, real quick, I just want to say it did come out today that Foley mentioned that if we were in a situation where we would want to keep him, that it wouldn't be an issue. We would make a full offer if that came to it.
Bully again, putting foot in mouth before needed. So the next transfer that just happened for another proud American-owned club, Manchester United has brought Wout Weghorst on loan. He was a Burnley player last year. He's their striker. They brought him in January. He was playing in the Turkish league. Obviously, Manchester United are piss poor broke at the moment because I didn't get my dividend. Yes, even as a Newcastle United fan, I did put a stock. I own stock in Manchester United for the dividends, and I didn't get mine this year, Joey.
Hey, the price is up to what, like $20 now or something? That's a pretty good return on investment from a few months ago.
I doubled my money, bought them at 10. Mostly just to kind of listen in on the minutes. But yeah, I've doubled my money. I wish I bought more than one share. It was kind of just like for fun, but now I'm like, damn. So yeah, they don't have much money to spend. I don't see them doing too much. They're in the process of trying to sell their club. So obviously this is kind of the level they're at the moment, which is a little bit sad. But good for Chelsea, who's chasing Manchester United, and great for Newcastle, who's trying to stay neck and neck with Manchester United.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say about that with Weghorst to United is it's unfortunate that it looks like Ten Hag is an actual decent manager because he'll probably actually get some good use out of him. Whereas before, it didn't really matter who the heck went to United, they still sucked. Um, so, with all the turmoil that is United, looks like Ten Hag has things turning around a bit.
Yep. Yeah, they're on the up and up. Hopefully not too much on the up and up, but yeah, on the up and up. The next player we want to just briefly mention is for Arsenal, currently in first place. They are still chasing Mudryk. He's a Ukrainian winger. He plays for Shakhtar Donetsk. I don't believe they actually play in Ukraine right now due to political reasons. Let's just put it like that. Their owner wants 100 million euros. I believe their last offer was 70 million euros. They think they can get a job or a deal done. Whether or not they can for 70 million euros, we'll see. Donetsk is a tough negotiator. Their owner, the football director, doesn't usually mess around. If he says 100 million, my guess is it's going to take 85, 90. But right now, I believe Arsenal are the only one chasing him. Unless Joey, is your team still in the hunt for this guy after Felix's loan?
No, well, I don't think they were ever in the hunt. It was more of like just information gathering and letting the players of the deal be known that if things fell through with Arsenal, that Chelsea could be an option. But if Yao Felix does plan out and we do move forward with a deal for him, a long-term deal, and then with Nkunku already coming in the summer, there would be no reason to bring in another left-sided attacker. There just wouldn't be.
Yeah, but let's timestamp this podcast because if you guys do buy Felix, I want to refer back to this to see Nkuku's feelings about buying a world class left winger when I think he was thinking he's going to be the man.
Well, we can get into this on later episodes, but all I'll say is that the more goal scoring wingers that we have that can actually play together, I'm okay with. It would with Mudryk, however you pronounce his name. I For one, I don't believe he's fully proven enough, and then two, that price tag is ungodly. When we're already spending so much on Nkunku and then potentially Felix as well. But specifically Felix is he can move around and play in the center and a little bit on the right as well. But on based off of his heat maps, he does prefer the left hand side. But if let's say they wanted to bring in like a lesser known dude for like 10 million, sure, whatever.
And on the transfer front, again, oddly enough, a Potter special. We have Trossard, another normally left winger, Belgian international. He has apparently had a falling out with his coach, who I guess has, I don't know, insulted him, humiliated him. Who knows? Stories going around from both sides. But he has actually left the country. I believe he's now back in Belgium. So he's not with Brighton. He's not training. And he supposedly has an extension, but he's not even talking about it. So let me put my tinfoil hat on, Joey. For a player to make a power play move like this, you have to have a move lined up. No?
Yeah, I would say so. Chelsea's pretty good at getting people to do that. That's how we got Chilwell, and it looked like the Enzo Fernandez was leaning that way for a moment. So yeah, I clearly think that's what's going on.
Do you think, again, tinfoil hat, Potter player, Potter knows him, assume Potter likes him. Could Chelsea be the puppet master in what is happening?
I would, man, at this point, I would not be surprised with how crazy everything's been, but information has been fast and loose coming out of the Chelsea camp, and there's been no mention of it whatsoever. So I doubt it.
Okay. Yeah, for your sake, and for your team's reputation, I hope it's not because you already have the Hijack FC label. And now if you pull this with Trossard and did with Enzo Fernandez, you're not going to be making many friends out there in the world. But I do believe he has a move lined up. My guess is Brighton are either asking too much or they're blocking the move. So he's pulling the stunt. It's not a stunt I would pull, but I can understand why he would do it. Joe, if you were a player, would you do what Trossard is doing to force a move?
I mean, it would just depend on the context. If everything were going well and there were no issues, no, I would absolutely never do that. But if there was really intense turmoil and stuff, then I could see a scenario where I would do something like that.
I mean, Brighton are eighth, not a bad team. He's one of
Yeah,
their best players.
yeah. Unless there was something like behind the scenes that we're not privy to, eh, like something bad, I wouldn't I wouldn't leave that scenario like that. No,
Okay. So you don't want to make up any rumors or anything?
no.
So and so sleeping with so and so.
Not over him. No.
Okay, well we'll make up rumors about other players in the future.
Now Ronaldo, on the other hand,
Yeah. Did you see his first game is actually going to be a combined game with the other major Saudi national team and not the one who signed him? I think it's an exhibition against PSG.
oh geez,
Right. Yeah, I read a comment from the coach, the team that he went to, and yeah, I think he went to Al Nassr. I'm
yeah,
not sure. There's, I don't remember what they're called, but he's like, yeah, it's not the ideal situation. We did not want him to come in playing with our rivals for his first game, but he had to serve a suspension. So, yeah, kind of unique situation for him. Uh, Unfortunately kind of tainted his legacy in my eyes as kind of already going downhill. Kind of a sad story of someone that appears to be going a little bit crazy.
the Kanye of the soccer world.
Exactly. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll be able to afford Cristiano Ronaldo's boots now. I mean, I couldn't buy Yeezys before, but I mean, the crazier he gets, people are just offloading these things.
Yeah.
Pennies on the dollar.
All right, and that'll do it for episode 1 of the Black and Blue Soccer Show. Andrew, it's quite an accomplishment. Our first ever episode out of the way. Feels pretty good, huh?
Yeah, and for the listener's sake, I hope to God there's like a blooper reel.
We'll see. We'll see what the editor has in store for us. But yeah, everyone, thanks for joining us. Make sure you again hit us on the socials at Twitter, which is Black Blue Soccer, Instagram, which is Black and Blue Soccer, and then of course any questions you may have, please submit to Gmail at blackandbluesoccer@gmail.com. So from myself, Joey, and Andrew, thanks for tuning in, and see you next week.
Just tell me like go next time
All right.
instead of Jesus God, instead of right again. You keep some of these for a blooper reel at the end, like
Yeah.
just for like shit at the end.